Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip. Bitcoin down approximately 5%, Ethereum down approximately 6%, and the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins deep in the red, looking for buy opportunities throughout the market. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about the heavyweight of altcoins and the negativity that it shows throughout the market, Ethereum. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on with this market. Straight off the bat, guys, we're getting a dip. Yes, we did see that in the news that we're getting another, rate cut, 25 basis points. And of course, that's bullish. But I believe that the market has priced that in already. We've been already showing a bit of, a deviation in momentum in the last little while. And I believe that the deviation is stemming from the market was being propped up with this, potential news. And obviously now that we got the potential news, the follow through of that deviation might, come into play here. So what I mean by this is essentially the market has been going still bullish with the hopes and of course the rumor that we were going to get a nice rate cut again, and which we did. Now that we've done and we did get that rate cut, what happens next? What goes next? The reality is it's a seldom news event. Now, we should see a little bit of follow through on these divergences that we're seeing throughout the market. And these divergences could be and should be the last ones that we get before we go into some parabolic phase, right? Given altcoin season is around the corner, and we already got our early signs of altcoin season, given that the Bitcoin dominance did show us a bit of weakness. And of course, we'll talk about all these factors and metrics in tonight's live stream at 8 p.m. EST. Feel free to join, guys. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on the live streams. But I will definitely be going over a lot of these metrics in the live stream. In addition to that, if you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place for you to make those requests. And I'll definitely take a look at the charts and find those setups that make us buy the dip in a position of strength. Guys, that's the whole objective here. And me being very, very patient is to wait for opportunities where I can get a better risk to reward ratio. No, there's no doubt in my mind that we're not in a bull run. We are in a bull run. The problem is if I'm going to deploy fresh capital, if I'm going to get into more leveraged long positions, again, taking more risk, ultimately, I want to make sure that I see the market de-risked already. I don't want to be buying tops and getting into risky positions. So you have to understand the smart money at this current moment is looking for opportunities where they're buying low and buying capitulation. They're buying fear. They're buying liquidations. And up until in the last little while, we haven't had any major events to really give us that other than that quick wick that we got a couple weeks ago. The reality is the market is due for a retracement, and we could be getting one in the immediate short term, short-term retracement. Just keep that in mind. I'm not talking about bull run over or anything. I'm just saying, guys, if you have cash on the side, pay attention because you could be given the greatest opportunity before the continuation for the parabolic run to the upside. Okay, so this is it. This is potentially that moment, guys, that we've been waiting for in the last couple of weeks to scale in from a position of strength. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin rolling over here obviously is giving us that sign of fear. Now we're still at $100,000, guys. $101,500 is still such a great target to be at and still being very bullish. But what's great is that we could still be at 100,000, maybe even lower. We don't know yet, right? and still have reset that momentum and reset that fear and greed index a little bit and get the market, in a state where we're still nice and high at a great value, even at 87,000. Bitcoin is still very, very bullish at 87,000. But guess what? At 87,000, guys, we flushed out the market in a very good way, to the point that a lot of us will be buying the dip hard, including myself, getting into leverage positions once again and getting that euphoric phase once again and picking up bullish bids at critical levels. And that's how we're going to get this market going again. At this rate, all we're going to see is these slow grinds to the upside and not get very parabolic unless we get a major catalyst, which we got so many major catalysts already in this market. So think about it, a bit of a reset, put it on sale, people will buy it, people will buy it all up and basically buy all kinds of dips throughout the entire market, including the altcoins. Ethereum, being an indicator of the altcoin market, is also showing weakness today. It's been showing a bit of weakness in the last little while, getting rejected on that double top that I identified quite earlier back is not a good look. We talked about it yesterday, guys. The way Ethereum was looking pretty bad, and you can see that Ethereum at the current moment, being an indicator for the altcoin season, is basically saying, you know what, altcoin season off, right? It could be just being put on hold for the next little while. How long is it going to take? We don't know. It could be that the holiday season is a very dry one. Maybe it's a very sideways one. You know what? So be it. We get to spend time with friends and family. Let the market go sideways. We'll accumulate throughout the holidays. We'll be looking for opportunities. And then, starting the new year, maybe we get back in nice and fresh and get some of that green bullish price action once again. All good. Look at all this, guys. A lot of dips. And I know it's very hard for me to be, celebrating right now. But guess what, guys? Deep down inside, I am ecstatic. I am so happy about this. Not because because of course my portfolio is not looking the greatest. But guess what, guys? I get to go shopping. I get to go shopping again. It's been months since I went shopping. Why? Because you're not shopping and buying dips in parabolic runs or bull runs or big green candles. You're not buying then. You shouldn't be buying then. You should be buying on days like today, or even worse if we keep on coming down, guys. I'm looking for other bearish targets, and we're going to be talking about those in a second, just in case, because we don't want to be blindsided just in case that happens. Look at Altcoin. We have Sui kind of going sideways. You know what? Sui's showing strength, even though, it's still looking okay. It's going sideways within a structure, even though we're getting a bit of negativity throughout the market. Could it withstand? Could it neutralize negativity? It could be. Sui has been one of the major, runners in stronger projects in the last little while. It could be out of the entire market. There's always a good handful that kind of, shows strength during negative moments, right? By neutralizing and going sideways. But, Pepe not looking the greatest, even Hyperliquid looking for that rollover, Near Protocol getting slammed right now, Aptos coming down for a lower low. We got lots of opportunity here. ICP taking a beating. We have CRO retracing. Again, look, guys, this is where the magic really does happen. If you are going to be buying, guys, this is the moments to be looking for, and you should have that buy list nice and clear. You had lots of time to get that buy list ready, and I feel like in the immediate short term we're gonna have to go and revisit those buy lists. Look at Phantom, guys. If you're bullish on Phantom is down 14.3%, a double-digit dip in 24 hours on a very bullish project. Now, I'm not saying that you should be buying right now. I'm just saying, guys, we got to look at the TA, of course. Join me live tonight. If you request Phantom, we'll take a look at the Phantom chart. But personally speaking, as soon as we find any signals of a bottom, guys, especially on Bitcoin and Ethereum, you should be buying those dips on Phantom, 100%. Algorand dripping down. A lot of projects are dripping. Ondo still looking strong. Could it withstand, again, another random project that is showing strength on negative days? Could it break down finally from this upward sloping trajectory? It could, making a lower low could confirm a change of character here. We have Celestia rolling over and many, many others, guys. You pick your project, you name it, except for exchange tokens, they're doing pretty good. TKX is doing great. I don't know what that is, but it's doing good. But everything else, guys, the reality is these are opportunities. Guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's begin looking at what's going on with Bitcoin. Obviously, the heavyweight in the market right now is getting a bit of a rejection, and this was the entire zone of which I decided, to take a back seat. Just hang tight. There's no point of taking risk in this type of price action because the bias eventually is a breakdown to the downside. And ultimately, I'm still, anticipating a de-risk. I want to see de-risking in this this market where I can get in from a position of strength. Let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So ultimately, this was a structure that I put in on the Discord. This was the idea that I put on the Discord a while back. And I made it very clear that my thesis is one of which that I am not willing to take risk on low volume price action. And Bitcoin, although it was grinding to the upside, it was with very, very stagnant volume. Not a lot of market participation involved in this pop. And we saw a lot of people on socials, you know, very bullish, even on the top. And I felt like, guys, how could we be bullish here when we're not getting volume? We're seeing signs of divergence. We see Ethereum looking a little, you know, sloppy. Bitcoin dominance was rising. And of course, that's great for Bitcoin. I get it. But the reality is that the majority of the market in this current time, in this current cycle, opposed to many other cycles of the past, we're altcoin bulls. Why? Because we've been educated. We've been educated. We know that that's where the gains are at. The retail market from the past is much different from the retail market of today. They know that it takes risk to make gains. And Bitcoin, although it's great, it's bullish, it's secure, it's awesome technology, you know, all of that good stuff. There's a lot more than just Bitcoin in the crypto space. And there's a lot more gains to be had in the crypto space other than, you know, just getting into Bitcoin. So we have to understand that when Bitcoin dips, you know, it shows us that there's opportunities other than Bitcoin to buy and accumulate, because we saw already what altcoins could do, and we can see right now how altcoins could dip when Bitcoin shows weakness. Now, I know some of you are going to argue and say, Mike, you said to, you know, hold off around this level. So what? The reality is, so what? Why do I say that? Because the average individual that comes in doesn't understand about risk. Right here, you know, I said, and I say it again, it seems risky. I don't like the low volume move. Still risky, still risky, still risky, still risky. The reality is, even if we de-risk and see the price, the Bitcoin price, get completely oversold and de-risk and the price is still at 100, I don't care. But guess what the difference is? The market is less risky. And from a trading perspective, it doesn't matter about price only. It matters of the sentiment in the market as to when you're going to deploy your hard-earned capital. Play hard to get with that capital. So what I'm trying to say is, even if you buy at a slightly higher level, then, you know, maybe you should have. That's fine. The reality is it's okay, because you're buying and paying for peace of mind. The peace of mind that you get to see a reset market where there's less risk is a lot more valuable. Why? Because in this zone, once we de-risk, where there's less risk, which wherever place we get it, whether it be here, even down here, who knows where it's going to be, the price you pay is to get into a level of de-risking, and where we can get in from a position of strength, buying low and selling high. Right now, it's clear at this level, we were buying high if you were buying, and we want to see how low this market can go so we can buy in from a position of strength. So ultimately, let's kind of revisit the thesis. The thesis is, you know, we were in a bit of a channel on the 4-hour. The daily wasn't that clear, but the 4-hour gave us a little bit of clarity. Look, I don't know how low we're going to go here. I'm not buying anything at the current moment just yet. I want to see how Bitcoin behaves here, because if Bitcoin does, let's say, even come and test the bottom of the range once again, and maybe we do get a dead cat bounce, maybe we do come down for a bit of a dip and hit maybe 90,000, maybe even as low as 87. The reality is, you know, when you're getting an upward sloping channel like this, I know the trend is your friend, but what about if this time the trend is not your friend? You know, and we end up breaking the channel. Eventually, the trend is your friend until it isn't. The reality is, if the trend was our friend forever, we would be going up to the right forever. And that's not the way the market works. We have peaks and valleys, and we got to understand our invalidations. Even if they are bullish in a bull run, there are moments of invalidation where we get deeper retracements than expected. And I think for me, 87,000 is the level of which I'm ready to deploy a big portion of the capital that I have on the sidelines. I'm going to be spamming buy orders into this level, to the point that I am even willing to risk in my entire stablecoin stash into this level. And if we do come down, I believe that I have enough time to raise more capital, whether it be trading or whatever the case may be, depending on your strategy, to raise more capital. If and, you know, like, honestly, guys, we're in a bull run. I don't expect a retracement down to the 786. 78,000, which would be a golden pocket retracement. That would be a little bit too much in my opinion, but again, you never know what this market does. But, at the $87,000 level, I am willing to deploy a good portion of my capital. Now, of course, the trend is your friend. Now, what about if we maintain this upwards trajectory? I'm also entertaining that idea, but I would like to see momentum reset. At this current rate, guys, things are looking interesting. And the reason being is that on the 4-hour, we do see that the momentum, the purple line, is almost getting oversold. And it's coming down in a very quick way to the point that, at this level, we can see a mean reversion in action. What that means is that the purple and the yellow line are way too far away. And when that happens, usually we get a mean reversion where we see the purple and the yellow get back together. And they usually meet about halfway. And that we can get a bit of follow through or a bit of a relief rally to the upside any moment now. So be careful about that. Usually those end up being bull traps. Okay, so be careful. Because ultimately, I think that even if we get a bit of relief, the trend is that we do end up coming down and getting oversold. But the bigger picture idea here is what's really happening on the daily, because the daily has been rolling over here. As you can see, we do see a bit of, divergence also happening here. And the question is, do we end up seeing the momentum getting oversold as well, coming down to this level? And if that's the case, guys, it's a very high chance that we come down to $87,000. And if that's the case, I will be buying the dip as hard as possible, because that could be the last opportunity. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't entertain, a dip down to, 98 and maybe get in on that on the 4-hour. That might be a good bounce, and it might be the only bounce. It might be that we end up breaking up bullish here. Remember, Decembers are usually the greatest moments where we see altcoin season, but we do see that we've started this altcoin season a little bit earlier, starting in November, which means that, a retracement to break it up, because we need a bit of, a dip in between, could be very healthy for this market. So what does this translate? This translate, look, if we do see Bitcoin take a break and come down further than we expected, again, if we take a Fibonacci from the bottom all the way to the top, this right here is a 0.382 breather. That's all it is. A 0.382 retracement is a breather. This would be a golden pocket retracement, which is high probability level of a reversal and getting a bounce. I'm putting my confidence in the 0.382, given that it's just going to be a quick take profit breather and a continuation to the upside. Let's see what happens in the meantime. But if that happens, what's going to happen to ETH, guys? And I know I spent a bit of time on Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin, and the thumbnail is about Ethereum. But we have to understand that Ethereum's value, or its real value at the current moment, is only being a signal, right? Its price action is pretty trashy. So for me to do a video on Ethereum at the current moment, I realize it's not going to get views, but I don't care. Ultimately, it's about the data that matters. And if I'm going to be talking about Ethereum, it's very important that we understand that Bitcoin has a massive influence over what Ethereum does. And ultimately, both of these heavyweights have a massive, influence over what the entire market does, as meaning the altcoin market. So you can see that Ethereum showing weakness here is not healthy whatsoever for altcoins, and in fact they could be bleeding out in the next little while as Bitcoin and Ethereum figure themselves out. Now, if we look at what ETH is really doing, and I mentioned this in the past, that I don't like the rejection here. And in fact, if you got onto the 4-hour and you look at this double top with the bearish divergence that we identified here, all into this level, it looked like class B and then class A right into here, and it totally rolling over and getting rejected. I don't like it. But it doesn't matter what I like. What matters most is that ultimately that the structure here is giving us some sort of signal. And if we do get a flag right into here, it's our last hope, or else Bitcoin is going to retrace. So there's two things that I always look for in a setup or in a scenario, let's say that we run out. If I'm going to expect a continuation, I expect the price to give me a continuation pattern. So give me a bull flag, give me a pennant, give me something that I can, make a setup that puts me from a position of strength again, where I can put a stop loss under, or else retrace and get it done and over with. Come down and hunt the pain, get going, hunt the liquidity, get to those levels so we can get this party going again. Now, that's the reality, is if it falls below this diagonal and it starts coming down, the level of which I expect liquidity to be hunted is right down to about $3,000 to about $2,700 or so. And that could be still very, very possible here. And still, in a very bullish trajectory type of way. You can see it would still make a higher low. Nothing would have changed. We're still making peaks and valleys, and that's possible. So altcoins, if you want a chance, we need to see Ethereum flag out here. Ultimately, we'll see some turbulence along the way, but if it dips and comes down, those altcoins are going to come down significantly, and Bitcoin most likely will hit 87,000, and Ethereum most likely will hit approximately 2,800. And again, those shopping bags, guys, make sure they're ready. Make sure you have a shopping list. Make sure that you have stable coins ready to buy the dip. In the meantime, guys, we're going to have to track this on the daily, because the reality is I don't know when we're going to be getting this bounce. In the bull market, these bounces come out of nowhere, and retracements basically get shorter and shorter, and they're short-lived. And people on the sidelines waiting to buy absolute crazy targets. Maybe 77K on Bitcoin is crazy. Maybe coming down to the $2,000 level is crazy, all the way down here. So let's be modest with these retracements. And a better strategy would be to DCA at levels. And for me, again, if I get a bull flag here, I'm DCAing into altcoins, not buying Ethereum. You know, if we come down to about 2,800, I'm buying all kinds of altcoins. And again, I'm not buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm looking for opportunities in the altcoin market. Look at this divergence, guys. I just want to be clear about the divergence that it had at resistance after a massive expansion to the upside. We are breaking a bit of a trend. I understand that it's not, accurate, but, a bit of a trend and something to be concerned with, of course. Can we improve this a little bit? Sure. We could now maybe break trend right here. Who knows? Let's see what happens there. What I don't like is this. The EMA is facing down red histogram bars, and the expansion's getting bearish divergence. Not a good look. Now, ultimately, it's pretty bullish. Why? Because look at this. That's great. That's really awesome. But in the short term, we're looking at the daily. If the 4-hour gets its full reset, let's go to the 4-hour. Look where we are. Look at how this looks. This looks like it wants to fall in the bearish control zone. You can't deny it that it's possible. And if that's the case, we could get our 4-hour reset. And a 4-hour reset could give us the best buy the dip opportunities throughout the altcoin market. All right, guys, so keep all of this in mind. I hate to come up with bearish videos, but when it is bearish, I have no choice but to make sure that my strategy and my thesis is correctly aligned with what the data is giving me in this market. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on those socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.